Good afternoon, partners. I wanted to give you all a brief update on the potential for a significant winter storm this weekend on specifically Saturday and Sunday, increasing or impacting the majority of our forecast area, including all the CSRA and Midlands. So we've got we'll start off with our two-page briefing that we sent out earlier, and I'll just go through a quick summary of this. There's not a ton that's changed, unfortunately. Confidence continues to increase in a potentially significant and substantial winter weather event this weekend across the forecast area, including the increasing threat for ice accumulations, sleet accumulations, and maybe even some snow accumulations. Impacts are looking to begin as early as Saturday morning and look like they'll last through Sunday afternoon or Sunday night, but the exact timing details still need to be worked out. It looks like all winter weather hazards are going to be possible this weekend with potentially a mix of rain, sleet, freezing rain, and snow across the area. Accumulations and impacts are not certain at this point, but confidence is increasing in significant and impactful accumulations of all three of those winter weather types. The severity of impacts is uncertain, but the potential for considerable impacts is increasing and it's higher than our typical winter weather systems. Now, what we mean by that is that typically when we get winter weather systems, we're expecting, an inch or two of snow, kind of something that would be nuisance. It might melt the next day. With this system, we're looking at a lot of liquid precipitation falling, which could fall in the form of freezing rain, sleet, or snow, and cause impacts that last well into next week as a very cold air mass overspreads the region behind this system. There are still forecast challenges that we have to figure out, and I'll go through a couple of those here in a second, but confidence is increasing as guidance continues to hint at this signal. So what are we looking at in terms of the forecast? What's driving this? Well, there is expected to be an Arctic high pressure system that's on the order of 3 standard deviations above normal for this time of year, moving into the northern plains. And it's going to move southeastward into the Ohio Valley and into the mid Atlantic as we get into the day on Friday and Saturday. And that should ring some bells because that will cause what we call cold air damming or wedge conditions across the forecast area. This isn't the kind of typical air mass that we usually get even in the wintertime. This is a very, very cold air mass. It has Arctic origins and will be moving into the mid-Atlantic and spilling in temperatures that are in the low 30s, upper 20s, maybe even mid 20s by Saturday night as precipitation begins to overspread the area ahead of a broad trough. And then on Sunday, we get a low pressure system that's forecast to develop to our south and move off the coast and away. And then you see early next week, ensembles are in good agreement on another high pressure system moving over and keeping the cold in place. So some of the uncertainty involved in this is how deep that cold air is and just how cold it is. Guidance has tended to it's really come into better agreement that we will have the cold sub-freezing temperatures, maybe even well into the 20s across the area for much of the event. And this was expected given that guidance tends to struggle with the extent and strength of cold air damming events. But just how deep and how cold that air mass is will play a critical role in determining what our dominant precipitation type is. So if we look at the European model here, which has predominantly freezing rain across the Midlands and CSRA, you can see it's got more of a warm nose here. And if that is a little bit cooler or a little bit warmer, it'll impact just what we get. Maybe it ends up being sleet if it's a little bit colder and the cold air mass is deep, like what the American model, the GFS, has here, where you just have a small warm nose aloft and you've got a deep cold layer, which results in hours of sleet. So just that subtle difference in the temperature profile can make all the difference in an event like this. So continue to monitor the forecast, continue to keep up with our briefings, and we'll have a better idea of what this is going to look like over the next couple of days. I want to close out with the WPC Winter Storm Severity Index, the probabilistic version of this, and this is looking at moderate impacts from ice accumulation from Saturday, the 24-hour forecast from 7 p.m. Saturday to 7 p.m. Sunday. So we're looking at greater than 40 to 50% chance of moderate impacts, which include hazardous driving conditions, closures, and disruptions to infrastructure and things like that. So it's just something to keep in mind. Again, we're really looking at a potential significant winter weather event this weekend. So we're here 24/7. If you have any questions, please email us or call us. Thank you.